Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Elissa. I work in the programming department at Mid-Columbia Libraries, and I'm co-hosting this event tonight and kind of keeping track of everything for Jay, who is going to be presenting. Just so everyone knows, we're going to keep everyone on mute during the presentation. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat, and we can get to them after the little presentation is finished, and Jay can answer questions for you. And then we can unmute then so that people have an opportunity to discuss questions. And also, just so you know, we are recording this session for people that might not be able to make it to this evening's presentation. So if you're not comfortable asking a question on video, you of course can still put it in the chat and I'll ask it for you. So with that, I'll give it over to Jay. He is our nonfiction librarian here at Mid-Columbia Libraries.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. Just going to be giving you a quick introduction to Ancestry. It's going to be a 30,000-foot overview. I'm not an expert at all myself. In fact, I learned more in the last few days than I knew about it previously. So let's get started. So to use Ancestry, you do need a library card with us, and you need to be logged into our website. Previously, you only could access it in one of our libraries on our computers or our Wi-Fi. But because of the pandemic, they gave us access at home. So you do need to go to midcolumbialibraries.org/ancestry. If you are not currently logged into your library account, you will see this message here. So follow that, get logged in, and then it will turn into a button. So let's get started. So it's going to bring you right here to the landing page where you're pretty much going to find everything. Here they're focusing on their searching, so you're going to see all the different areas you can search: the census, vitals, military, all that kind of stuff, and then quick links at the bottom, which are going to be some of the more common areas that people use, and then direct access to Census Records if you want to just jump into those. So here at the top, you have everything else, the rest of the search. You can do all categories or just look at the 5 different categories individually if you know what you want. We'll dig into that later. You have the message boards. So if you need help with a question or want to see what's been done on a name already or a family already, you can dive in here and then you can just search the name. You can search for topic or name here, or you can just dive into the category or country and see what might have been done already. And then you can probably get help from someone who's been doing this a while or has a different way of looking at things. Another thing to look at is the resource or learning center, excuse me. Here you just have a number of resources to help you with your searching, things from general resources and advice for Ancestry, and then area specific resources like census, beyond the basics, and more. And then in addition, you have a map which will help you understand state specific resources. So if you click on Washington, you're going to find information about Washington's vital records. So if sounds like they're a little bit different state to state. So if you click on here, you'll be directed to a wiki, which will give you a brief summary of those vital records. And then once you're on this page, you can click on the tax records for the state to get an overview of those and how they might be different from other states. And then next, we're going to look at the charts and forms. Here, you're going to find some helpful charts to help you flesh out your family tree. So you can look at your correspondence record, and this is just going to be a record of people you talked to and the date you talked to them and what information you got from them. And this way, you don't duplicate your efforts and waste anyone's time. To all sorts of different things that can help you. And then at the end, you have new collections, which is just the card catalog, which you find in the search, but sort of by date updated. So this doesn't seem all that helpful unless you're looking for something new All right, so let's get into the search. I'm just going to search for the all categories. And here on the search page, you see the special collections. So if you do choose to narrow down where you're searching, this is where you can do it. So if you just want to search for marriage records, you can click on here and it's going to direct you right to the marriage search page. But I'm just going to perform a basic search to start. And I'm going to search for my grandfather. And I'm going to put in his city where he lived. And that's going to be Manitowoc City in Manitowoc County in Wisconsin. And I'm not going to put his birth year, even though I do know it. And here we can see we have almost 6,000 results. It looks like the first several are good results about the right person, but then we have a bunch of noise that may or may not be the right stuff. So we have a draft card, which we can look at an image of. We have the 1940 census and 1930 census. He was born in 27, so that's going to be those are the only censuses available. And the 1940 census is the most recent, because they don't come out for 72 years after that census year. So the 1950 census is next. That'll be out in 2022. So almost 2 years. But let's take a look at that census and see what it shows us. So for the 1940 census, once you click on the image for the census, for the record itself, you can see that his household is highlighted in green, which is really handy, so you don't have to look through this and find it. And then the person you searched for is in yellow. And then what I really like is that you don't have to worry about reading the handwriting. You can just hover over that cell and it tells you not only what it says, but what the column is. So you can see the residence in 1935 was Reedsville. And then if you scroll to the right, you can see he doesn't have a job because he was a kid, but his dad was a farmer in the 1940, I guess, and then his wife was a housekeeper. So let's go back. Let's take a look at the 1930 census as well, because one of the things you can do is look at kind of what changed over that 10-year window to kind of get an idea of their life. So clicking on the 1930, here they are. So they only have 3 kids now. So they had a 4th one after 1930. And then the dad was a mason during the 1930 census doing some stonework. And maybe the Depression put him out of work. And he turned to farming. So that's kind of illustrates a little bit more of their history, looking at multiple censuses, if you can. All right, and then I also want to show that the results are initially sorted by record. So you're looking at individual records in the results, but you can also look by category. So if you click on categories, it'll sort them based on what they are. So you can see the birth, marriage, and death are lumped together. So you have 303 obituaries for this particular search, and then all the way on down. So that's kind of handy. So if you know what you're looking for, you can either limit it before or after your search. All right, so this wasn't very helpful because it left about 8,000 searches. So let's focus this a little bit better. For instance, let's add some more options. So his birth year was 1927. And if you don't know what it is, you can tick that exact box and then put plus or minus a year, 2 years, 5, 10 years. And even if you don't know, if you don't even know plus or minus any years, it's still better to put a year than not put a year. It's still going to help the algorithm search. And then you can add any event. So if you put his death, 2020, take this off. And then you can put So you can put child, and this will help you focus your search. And then you have 4 family tree results and 1 birth, marriage, or death result. So let's look at the family tree result. So it looks like he shows up in this family tree. Oops. All right, so we can access it this way. So we'll take a peek at this family tree, and this way we can look at some things that are attached to Arnold Cabot's obituary that this person put together. So we can also use what's already out there if someone has it available for us to use. So you can see his birth, his residence, and then some births of his kids, deaths of siblings and parents and that kind of thing. And then you can also see the sources, so you can cut right to the chase and see where that information was from. And then if you're interested, you can see the parents and spouses. And then sometimes there's a gallery, sometimes there's a life story. So all this can be helpful for your searching. And then we'll just back up. And I wanted to show a couple more advanced searches. All right, so then up here you can do, for the names, you can do exact and sounds like, similar, or initials for the first name. And then the last name, you can do sounds like and similar, and then what they call a soundex. And this is an ancestry algorithm that searches for alternate spellings based on pronunciation. So if you know it's Cabot, but you don't know how it's spelled, it's going to be able to find it if you spell it wrong. Not the best example, but that's what that tool is for. And then, you know, for the same thing for Manitowoc, you have the option to select the radius of your search. So if you know he lived in a certain county, but you don't know for how long, you can put the state or even further if you want. But then the tricky thing is sometimes if you add too many limiters, you don't get results. So here I got 0 results, even though I think I have everything in there right. So sometimes you can make it too specific. Like, let's take this off. I don't know if that maybe hung it up. So if you get too specific, you can eliminate some results. So here I only have the obituary, so something is not quite right. So sometimes you just need to back it up and take something off your search. So maybe the death is hanging it up. So then here we have the drafts card, we have the obituary, but we're still missing the censuses. So sometimes you just have to step back and rethink your search or take something off of it. All right, and then the last thing is going to be the Boolean search. So like, for instance, if you don't know how to spell a name, or a name changed through a generation, or paperwork was not written down properly, you can use a couple characters as wildcard searches. So like, the question mark is going to make that character can now be anything. So the ABAT will be searched for exactly as is, but anything can be that first letter. So it could be a C, it could be a K, it could be a P. So we'll take a look at that and see how that comes out. So we have a Babbitt, Sabbit, all sorts of them. So somewhere in here is a Cabot, there's a Cabot. So that's an option for you if you mostly know how to spell the name, or something may have been switched. And then another one is going to be the asterisk. So if you are looking for a Smith, but you don't know if it's S-M-I-T-H, S-M-Y-T-H, S-M-I-T-H-E, that kind of thing. You can use the asterisk, and the asterisk is going to be it's going to change this character, and any after it can be anything. So here we're looking at anything with the first vowel can be anything, and then the TH will be the same, and then the rest of it can be anything. So it could be Smithly. So we should see some different results here, maybe not though. All right, so there's 5 million results. We're probably going to see mostly Smiths. Oh, here's an SMYTH. So this is the way to kind of catch any Smith variants. All right, so that's pretty much all I was going to show tonight. I do want to also show you this paperwork, or this help sheet, which you can find in the Learning Center. It's going to be the Follow Your Family Using Census Records. And this is what I was kind of saying between the 1930 and 40 census. You can kind of see how it paints a picture of what happened in those 10 years. So you can kind of compare and contrast all these different elements of the census to see what may have happened in those 10 years and what to look for, that kind of thing. And then if you ever get stuck or want more help searching, you can go to support.ancestry.com, and you'll be able to get all these help manuals and tips on searching and that kind of stuff. So when you get to this landing page, I just go to the bottom, and then you have these six buttons. I like this second one here for search and records, where you're going to find search tips, search resources, and then getting started with finding records, all sorts of things in here. And you can even get more help with the Boolean, all sorts of things like that. So that is going to conclude my segment. So thanks for listening, and happy searching.
So I wanted to go ahead and open it up for questions. If anyone has a question, let me see if I can unmute everyone at the same time. Let's see. Looks like I can't unmute all of you. It might be a feature to keep people from Zoom bombing us, which is a good thing. But if you have a question, you're welcome to put it in the chat, and I will be able to either unmute you then specifically so you can ask it, or I can read it.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like I was able to unmute everyone that would like to be unmuted. You don't have to be unmuted if you don't want to be.
Thank you, Jay, for the explanation.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Very interesting.
Oh, I lost my camera.
Oh, that's okay. So Diana would like to know, does this interface at all with an existing Ancestry subscription?
So like if you have a personal one?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's what she's
Round out,
wondering.
coming up. 3 for 3 RBI, 3 doubles.
I don't know. I don't think it does. I think they're independent platforms.
Second walk issue by Mike Miner. So good start to the match.
So in short, I don't know for certain.
Yeah, I know that some people have the subscription because they go ahead and do the DNA work through the ancestry.com. You can do your DNA and then it can connect to things, and they offer a subscription through that. But
Right.
I think this one, our subscription with your library card is just as thorough as that one. I don't think you get anything extra with the other one that you don't get through this. You can access this from home. Chris wants to know if you can access this from home. You might have missed it right at the start. Jay showed that. You do have to have a library card to access it, but we can get you set up with one. Either on, does Mozio do that, Jay?
We can't give a card number, but we can get it started, and then
Yeah.
they can go to the branch and get the card.
Yeah, and we do have pickup for cards that are curbside, and you'll be able to access this from home for now until December, and they might extend it even further if we need to.
And to access it online, you can just go to midcolumbialibraries.org/ancestry.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
No, none are popping up in the chat. So let's give everyone one more minute, and then we'll see if sometimes it takes people a minute to type things out. Do we have a lot of Ancestry users? Do you know, Jay?
I couldn't tell you how many individual users, but it does get a lot of use over the course of. It's probably our most popular database. That or Heritage Quest, which is another of our genealogy databases.
So Jane and Tom say thank you, and Rebecca says thank you as well.
You're welcome. It was fun.
So someone has a good question. Is there a way to store the information you find as you find it within Ancestry?
So that is the one, I think the one difference between our subscription and a personal subscription. I don't believe you can on our library subscription, because there's some paperwork in the Learning Center that talks about saving a file. Oh, if you go to the homepage in the database, you can see on the top right there's a send document button.
Okay.
On your results as well. That'll send it to your email, but only like a notification that you saved it to your profile. And then you can you can build a family tree on a profile, but we just don't have that option because we're a library account.
Okay.
If
So that's a
that
good
makes
thing.
sense. So I think the only way to save it is to do something manually, but I haven't looked into it.
Okay. Sarah wants to know if you know where you can get or purchase blank genealogy papers to fill in. Now, we did see some of those on they were free kind of printable ones that you showed, but I'm not sure where you would get blank ones to fill in.
Yeah, I don't either. Does anybody know who's watching?
So you can get those through Ancestry. You can print them off, or you can go to familysearch.org, and they have things there too.
Thanks, Carol.
You're welcome.
So Rich wants to know if he can bring a thumb drive to store the things he found. Do you know if items are savable to your computer, or you can email them, Jay?
I'm going to do a quick search because I don't know offhand.
Okay.
I didn't think to try to save one.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think about that either.
Let's see. I'm looking at just an obituary. That's not a good example. All right. So the draft card. I'm looking at the draft card. And yeah, there is a save option on the top right. So you can do save image to this computer.
Okay.
Or send image home, and it's a big green button on the top right. And it looks like it might be on the census ones too, the ones that are PDF.
So it sounds like you could save it to a thumb drive if you wanted to bring one into the library with you. Right now you can access this at home since the library is still closed, but once we open again, you could totally bring a thumb drive in and have it save items. Let's see, any other questions? Could you take a screenshot? I assume you could, of course, take a screenshot if that's an easy way to save things for you. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. If you are interested in viewing this again, in case you want to revisit it, in the next few days, we'll go ahead and put it up on our Facebook and on our YouTube account so that you can come back and review it again if you need to be walked through some of the searching again. And keep an eye out for our other events we have coming up. We're going to be showing hopefully some other databases and learning more from Jay and other librarians in the system.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everyone. Oh, thanks Jane and Tom for that information. It looks like you can access library from home, or if you already have an Ancestry account. No, I'm sorry, that's a question. I'm sorry, I misread it. Can you? And that was asked. I don't know. Jane and Tom. I don't know right now, but I'll make a note and take a look into it.
I would assume if you already have an account, you could use the library computer to access it, but we already have the database paid for, so it would be
Redundant.
Yeah. Yeah, you should just be able to log into your personal account from our computer.
All right, well, thank you everyone, and we will be looking forward to seeing you again.
All right, thank you.